What lies at the core? What lies at the core of a belief system or co-signing a philosophy that suggests that a woman of a particular race should go to a doctor to see if the fetus that she's carrying inside of her womb is a male of any race, for the sole purposes of deleting that life. What lies at the core of that belief system is a genocidal philosophy. This is one thing that hit me like a ton of bricks tonight. I spoke a couple of weeks ago about an evil spirit that permeates certain spaces where quote unquote black women frequent. And I feel as though, man, like I got taken to another level of understanding with that this evening. Because what I've come to realize is that spirit, that energy, but our people are the primary ones carrying this. And this is a result of generations of trauma. This is far deeper than any one situation between a one man and one woman. Because the truth of the matter is our ancestors walk with us. And some of the struggles and pains of our ancestors walk with us. You really have to like kind of try to understand that to an extent, that there's a rich weight that comes with being African American. And that weight that you carry, and in that weight that you carry is a choice that every single black person is going to have to make at one point in time or the next in their life. And that question is of your very existence. And I think that most of what I've just broken down in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes or so, is subconscious. This is something that most people are not even aware of. This is something that the world will never teach you. This is something that no one will ever show you. No one will ever tell you this. But this is the truth. See, the world is not designed for our progress. Like, we don't live in a world that is culturally healthy as it relates to our existence as African Americans. In fact, we live in a world that is pro-death for the existence of our own people. Think about this. And I know this is true. Look at our culture today. Like, this is what we're living in is the exact opposite of what the 1960s was about. Like the freedom fighters and the revolutionaries and, you know, the soul music and the love and everything like that, the pro-black. We're living in the exact opposite of that today. We're living in the pro-divestment, pro-swirl, excuse my language, killer ninja, pro you don't need a man. All of that, all of the core of that is a genocidal energy. And the primary target of that genocide is black men. And you have to ask yourself, you have to stop and ask yourself, what is behind that? Are you willing to remove the veil? And when you do, you're going to find some scary shit. You're going to find you're going to find some trauma. You're going to find some spirits unlike anything that you could have imagined. And I'm certain that if you do not come face to face with those demons, with those traumas, and overcome them, then you will be overtaken by them. And the net result of that, the net result will be what those spirits intend, which is to destroy you, which is to destroy your essence, which is to eradicate you off of the face of the earth. And this is like a deep thing, but it's the truth, and I know it is. So what is needed? Well, what's needed is people to make healthy decisions, responsible decisions. It's because when a person is under attack, right, by like some type of energy, like some spirit or whatever like that, the tempting solution can be for you to throw yourself at anything that looks like a solution. But you have to be careful with that, because that can oftentimes lead to more trouble. What do I mean by that? Right? So what I mean by that is, let's say you are a black woman or a black man, and you find something or someone who seems like a solution, right? Like you've rejected the spirit of genocide against your own people. You've come to embrace and love yourself as a black person, right? And you just jump on the first train smoking to black love or pro-black life and pro-black existence. This, I think, is the extreme. This is what you've heard women describe as black male worship. This idea where you can throw away not only concerns about the character of the individual that you're willing to share this experience called life with, due to the fact that they themselves also too are black, but you're also willing to throw away your own self-worth, self-respect, self-dignity for the purposes of dealing with this individual. See, this is how I know what I just said right now and what I've been saying is how I know, regardless of what you think, I know that this message that I'm telling you did not come from me. This is not me. I'm trying to tell you something, because I'm telling you, a dream hit me tonight unlike anything that I've experienced in a long while. And I know the lesson I know the lesson was for me to learn, to understand. But I know that there's a wider audience who needed to hear, who needed to understand. Because when you hear the things that women say and men are saying across social media, across the world, you're hearing so many African Americans express disdain towards the opposite reflection of their gender within our race, within our culture. And I'm realizing, and I'm explaining to you why. Because some people are, when they face that demon and they say, no, I'm going to be black and I'm going to be proud and I'm going to be I'm gonna embrace my ethnicity, and I'm gonna love my own people, which is a healthy stance. There's nothing wrong. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful pledge because there's something spiritual in that as well. That's a wonderful thing. But again, the warning is that, and my admonition is that you have to be careful because not everyone has the discipline that is required to be a responsible receiver of your energy, of your essence as a Black person, right? As an African American, as a child of God. Do you understand me? Because this is what this is. If we remove the veil even more, we see that this is literally the battle between good versus evil, right? And we are on the side of goodness. You understand? So therefore, it is important that you only align yourself with people who have the moral, the spiritual maturity to handle your essence. And you will know this because they will be living, they will promote a lifestyle, they will desire a relationship that is morally upright with you. Because, of course, like, intimacy is a part of the process. Intimacy is part of the journey that two people are going to, be a part of, right? It's a part of it. But there's steps to take before you get there, because if intimacy becomes the focal point, then I tell you, you are still under the influence of that demon that I talked about from the very beginning, because peace cannot come out of chaos. The result of chaos and indiscipline is more trauma. It goes back to the idea that the slave owners would have about Black people, about our people, African American people, was that they will be useful as breeders, right? So let's let this thing that we call sex become the focal point of their entire existence. So we'll take this woman or this strong male, and we'll just breed them with this one and that 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 one. And we'll separate her from this family and breed her with that one, and separate this guy from this family. Oh, just yank him out of there and just go breed with this one and that one and that one and that one. So we can have some strong slaves on the plantation. Right? Now, we don't know what was going on in the mindset of that, like, slave, right? Who's just just doing all this sex and having all these relations with all these weird people, and not dedicated, not committed to being in a actual relationship with these people. They're just sleeping around. But somewhere in their mind, they're thinking that they're conquering, or that they're at least continuing the line of our existence. But what was giving birth? What was birthed, right? A lot of times you're talking about not so good and not so clean spirits. So the moral of the story is this, family. In plain English, a path of immorality is not the way, even if it is with a Black person. If you have someone who is trying to drag you down a path of immorality, right? That's not the righteous path. It's not. There's no debate there. That, in reality, is wrong. It's wrong. And we have to be willing, in the space of what I will call like pro-blackness. Like if you don't want to call it pro-black, because we always operate in extremes, right? I'm just saying in the field or in the area of anti-genocide for Black Americans, this quitting mentality in that realm where we're not quitting and we're not genocidal towards our own people, there has to also exist a strong fabric of right and wrong, of up and down, of left and right, of light and darkness. There must exist that force of righteousness in that space, because it is the force of righteousness that put you there to begin with. So we can't get to that space and forego righteousness for the sake of pleasure, for the sake of lustful spirits. This is the primary threat to the space that is supposed to be healthy for our people. Now, I've tried very strong, and I'm going to say this and then I'm about done. I've tried very strong not to sound pharisaical in my presentation of that space. Because sometimes we in the pursuit of trying to establish good and bad, we become pharisaical. Because it is nothing but grace. It is nothing but the power of a force beyond the scope of our human understanding that's allowing us to understand what's happening and turn away from a path of self-destruction. So you have to remember that when you deal with the people, with our people, you have to remember that we're coming to the table with pain. We're coming to the table with pain. And people will try to mask it with this quote unquote success. I'm successful. But you have to acknowledge the truth. Your money can't hide, or it can hide certain scars and certain pains only for so long. Then eventually those things will come out. Given the right opportunity, the right situation, the right circumstance, they'll come out. So it's better that you deal with that spirit, that you deal with those traumas ahead of time. Don't try to mask your trauma with this quote unquote earthly success. That's you fooling yourself. And eventually you're going to have to deal with reality. When you get into a relationship with somebody, you have to do life with them. You're doing day in and day out stuff with them. You're going to deal with that real version of you that money can't hide, that a filter on your phone can't hide, that makeup cannot cover. Okay. A waist trainer can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't fake that. You either got it, you've either dealt with it, right? You have it and you've dealt with it and it's resolved, or by the grace of God, you don't have it and you don't have nothing to deal with because you haven't allowed yourself to go through all this trauma. Those are usually our virgin girls, our young people, our youth haven't experienced so much trauma. And so God bless them, help them to follow down a path of righteousness. But what we have are people who speak evil, people who speak so much evil, so much negativity. Listen to the things that people are saying, and you will understand that a lot of it is very, very, very negative. They're coming from a place of anti. They're coming from that genocidal place. And they're pushing the energy that comes from that place onto our people. So our people are turning away from life. They're turning away from their existence because they've been taught that. How much more so the world? So be careful out there, but be courageous. Understand that you have to define your own world. You are the originator of your life, of your world. The standards of the world does not have to be the playground wherein your mind, your soul, your spirit, your body has to rest. This is so important. You have to be willing to plant yourself and plant your flag in a world that you create for the betterment of your life and the lives of your family, the people around you that are depending on you. And the last thing I'm going to say is a bit of encouragement. The word of God tells you that this world, the power behind it is the wicked one. The wicked one is the power behind this world. The Bible teaches you that. The Bible teaches we're living in the time of the Gentiles. The Bible teaches that Satan has been cast out of heaven to the earth with great fury and wrath. Against who? Against the children of God. Because that wicked one know he have but a short time remaining. So the objective of that wicked one is to destroy and take along with him as many souls as possible to the place wherein he's going, which is the pit, the land of no existence, hell. Understand that when you see certain things going on in this world, it is because they are under the influence of that wicked one. The Lord said that they are from their father, the devil, right? And his will they were looking to do, those people at that time. And they wanted to be and do the things that their father, the devil, wanted them to do. The spirit of the Almighty, the righteous spirit, is not something that was popular even 2,000 years ago. This world have become much more corrupt today than it was then. So you must create your own world and plant your flag in that space and allow the power, the righteous standard, the righteous power that woke you from sleep and woke you from trauma and woke you from this genocidal viewpoint. Allow that spirit, that energy to form a fortress, walls around you for protection, to keep the influence of that evil genocidal world from entering so that you can be secure, healed, and whole, and expand those walls out. You don't have to exist in this shell. Expand your walls. Provide safety. Do things like what I'm telling you. Because what I'm doing right now, literally, I'm expanding my wall. And I'm inviting you to, I'm trying to provide protection for some of y'all. And the more we do this, this is how we literally expand the kingdom of God. It's the truth. That's why the Lord said, what? The kingdom is within you. It don't mean that there's not a physical kingdom coming. It just means that you got to understand first that things have to manifest, right? You have to first understand it for yourself. This ideology, this thing has to be real enough to the point where it first becomes a spiritual thing that happens in the spiritual realm. But then there is a dedication, a baptism. There's a process, a thing that happens as a result of that brings that into the actual physical world. But we first have to establish the spiritual. This is why, and I'm going to leave y'all with this. This is why in the 1960s, right, the military, the CIA, right, was so keen on trying to stop these pro-black, these quote unquote pro-black movements. Why? why spiritually were they trying to stop that? You have to understand it's not just physical. They don't fear us physically like that. They feared the result. They feared at that time the result of what we could become, because that they recognize, you got to think who they work for. It's already prophesied. So the question becomes, what side of prophecy are you on? And you have to make that decision and walk in it. Like, share, subscribe. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Until we chat again, it's Urban Politics.